Hey, what's happening, family? It's your man, Mark Black. You know what time it is. Welcome to Hump Day. Happy Hump Day to all of you. We are almost to the weekend. I appreciate each and every last one of you who show up for these broadcasts. Fam, we are going to talk about a great topic today. So if you haven't done so, make sure you share this on your social media, right? Share it on Facebook if you're still there, on Twitter, etc., etc. Also, check the description field of the video. Check the description of the video for links, all sorts of good stuff there. And also, I have a small announcement to make. As you guys have known, I've had a Patreon for quite some time, and I do have quite a few diehard patrons. Some people come, some people go. Trust me, I get it. I understand people's budget, right? But I wanted to make a way for you guys to be able to not only support the channel, but for me to support you. There's been various topics that we've talked about, things that we've discussed that I haven't had the capability to really go in depth on because these broadcasts are public, right? Anybody can click on my channel and see this stuff, right? So what I've done is I've actually set up a new way that not only can I provide you with even better content than before, but you have a one-stop place to be able to support your man. If you haven't seen it, look on the page right below. There's a new button there, the join button. I've set up memberships for the channel. You can become a supporting member of the herd, of the Angry Black Sheep. There's a few different tiers there for everyone's budget, right? Because trust me, I understand my audience. I know we ain't rich folk, right? So there's a few different tiers. But some of the benefits that'll come with membership are you'll get access right away to content that is members only, right? So for those of you who are interested in the topics where we discuss things like firearms, land-based acquisition, and so on and so forth, I have videos that I can go more in depth on that actually teach you methods, ways, and means about going about checking the right weapons and checking where to get land and how to go about acquiring a place to live and so on and so forth that I can't really put out here in the public sphere. You get access to that. Not to mention the fact that for those of you who choose to support me at the highest level, right, my most loyal, my most trues, trust me, because nothing's going to change about my broadcast, fam. I'm still going to broadcast everything the way I do Wednesday and Saturday. So even if you can't contribute a penny, I'm still going to be here for you, fam. There's nothing changing. But for those of you who support me at the highest level, once per month, I will have a broadcast dedicated just for you. And in that broadcast, fam, you'll actually get a chance to dictate how the channel goes moving forward. The topics that you would like to see discussed. You actually have a chance to discuss with me directly topics that we don't have to broadcast to everybody. Right? So if you haven't done so, click the join button, take a look at what's on offer, right? There'll be merchandise that's coming too here in the near future, right? So keep your eye out. I don't want to just take from you. I want to support you as well as have you support me. So appreciate you in advance. Take a look, click that join button, see what I can do for you, see what you can do for me. So fam, without further ado, we're going to talk about the fact that now it seems they need us. Now, who is this they that I'm speaking about in today's broadcast? Well, isn't it obvious, fam? I'm talking about these stupid low-life Democrats. It seems, fam, that Chameleon Harris being selected as VP just didn't provide the boost that they were expecting. Oh, before I get into it, let me go ahead and do my shout outs. Michael DeJohn Moore, I don't know if you came back, but happy hump day to you as well, brother. Engaging Black is in the house. I don't know if you came back or Tablet or Easy Be Easy, but welcome to the broadcast, fam. Darker Visions is in the house. John Anderson, B1 to you, fam. I see you, and you earned that wrench, fam. Thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for your love. I'm glad to have you as a moderator on my channel. Tiffany Johnson is in the house. Miss Denny is in the house. Sister Alma, beloved Sister Alma is in the house. Salute to AB Media 83 is in the house. Agent Smith, I see you, fam. Good evening. Oh, polite and shit. Agent Smith, good evening to you, fam. And welcome to the broadcast. Happy Hump Day to you. So, fam, it turns out that they didn't get the wind beneath their wings with the announcement of Kamala Harris as VP. Shout out to my beloved sister, Kimberly Richardson, right? Yeah, it must have been nuts for Biden to think that he could expect some sort of boost from choosing a goddamn cop in a moment when every blackhead I know of, even some of the bootlegs, are like, wait a minute, the cops is doing too much. He chooses a goddamn cop. They also didn't get that bump out of the convention. By the way, shout out to Sister Rhonda. Welcome. Very first member. I appreciate you. I thank you. Welcome to the herd. Welcome to membership, because membership has its privileges, which you will soon see. Yeah, they didn't get that bump that they was expecting in the polls. As a matter of fact, fam, even the most disreputable polls you can possibly imagine shows that Biden's lead over Trump has diminished almost to the point where it's within the margin of error. You know, like 2, 3, 4%. And they made a big deal, family, about the fact that our beloved tribeswomen, our sisters, were the backbone of the Democratic Party. They were the ones who were going to save us all. You know, the same old divide and conquer bullshit that they've been pulling for the last 40 years. You have a lot of chameleons, soarers, that are claiming they're going to back her up. Also other Greeks and so on and so forth, right? Like deltas, zeta phi betas, so on and so forth, right? Who are all siding with Kamala. But black Greeks don't make up hardly any numbers amongst our people. Especially when you have only 19% of black males that graduate from high school go to college, and roughly about 34% of black females that graduate from high school to actually go to college. So the numbers are fucking minuscule. By the way, shout out to Engaging Black again. Welcome back. I know you were here early. I'm glad to see you back. I know you're in the field. Be safe. Rhonda, there's also an emoji that's just for you. It's an angry black sheep emoji. If you click the emojis, you'll see it, and you can use it throughout the chat. Members only, right? So, it turns out that the benign neglect and reaching for the ghosts of white voters just isn't working out for the Democrats like they had hoped it would. It just doesn't seem to be doing the trick to make sure that they get over the line. Let us go to the teaching screen, shall we, fam? Here's an article that is on the conversation.com. I'll put a link to the article in the chat, as always, so you're able to pull it up and review this information for yourself. But in this article, the author's title is Young Black Americans Not Sold on Biden, the Democrats, or Voting. What up, black man? Happy Hump Day to you, fam. What it do? That's right. It turns out that Biden and Harris just aren't the electrifying pair that the Democrats had kind of hoped they would be. Let's take a look at the article, shall we, fam? The article starts off saying, most political analysts define swing voters as those who swing their support from one party to the other between election cycles, determining winners and losers in the process. According to this conventional wisdom, the swingiest voters are working class whites in the Midwest who supposedly hold the keys to the White House. Meanwhile, by contrast, pundits often portray black Americans as an undifferentiated mass. Loyal Democrats supporting foot soldiers who will execute their mission for the team on Tuesday as long as some preacher provides the right marching orders on Sunday. Fam, how many times have we talked about the fact that the Dems treat us as if we're hostage to them, that our votes automatically belong to them? By the way, shout out to Sister Sherry. A long time no see, fam. I'm so glad to see you. Welcome to the broadcast. A happy hump day to you. Marianne Williamson is a damn joke. Thank you, Black Magic. Welcome. I appreciate you as always. Thank you so much for your support. Membership has its privileges. You remember when Biden was talking about Latinos and how diverse the Latinos are, the Hispanics are, not like us niggas. Remember that? Remember Biden said, unlike black people, Hispanics are a diverse and broad group. You remember that shit? He said that we are an undifferentiated mass. All niggas is the same to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democrats. Fam, if you bother to even listen, briefly listen, you will see right away, the contempt that the Democrats hold us in. But you know what's interesting? This article basically states that only 47% of black Americans under 30 plan to vote for Joe Biden. 47%. I'm actually shocked that it's that high. Because unlike our elder brothers and sisters, we have our feet firmly rooted in black media. And black media has been banging the drum over and over and over again that Biden, the author of the crime bill that's locked many of their uncles, cousins, mothers, grandmothers, fathers up in prison doing football numbers, is not the way to go. So I'm actually surprised that under 30s plan to vote for Biden at 47%. As a matter of fact, fam, I'm willing to attribute that to the idea that these young ones is just telling these white folks whatever they want to hear when they call with these polls. That has to be it. That has to be it. But when you look at this chart right here, fam, you see that 47% is roughly about the same number of folk that have anything positive to say about Joe Biden, which means that our message is getting through. The only people that are planning on voting for Joe Biden that are young folk are folk that already had or have been inculcated with a positive attitude when it comes to anything about Joe Biden. Because the more you learn about Joe Biden, the more you learn about Kamala Harris, the less you're inclined as black folk to to vote for them. The less you're inclined to vote for them. This also gives some information on their views on whether or not they trust the voting process, how they plan to vote, etc. Again, links in the description for you to review this information for yourself. But here's something to note. In this part of the article here, it talks about the fact that young voters are just not sold on voting as even a process that they want to engage in. It says here, these young black Americans may well sit things out in November, just as many of them did in 2016 when their behavior swung that election to Trump as much as anything else did. Notice that they're still fucking blaming black folk for the loss of Hillary Clinton to Trump. They gave us Super Predator. They gave us Sniper Fire. And we were supposed to be enthusiastic to come out and just throw our motherfucking political capital away for Hillary Clinton. They tripping. They're tripping. Alma said nomination was Biden's victory lap. Wouldn't be surprised to see DNC pull Biden if he can't get big enough lead before election. Don't think Clinton-Harris ticket is out of the picture. Oh, I don't. At this point, none of the shenanigans that the DNC pulls surprise me. As a matter of fact, I've heard rumors, which is why I haven't really talked about it, but I heard rumors that Biden's going to have an incident before the election and Kamala is going to get the nod as president with Buttigieg as VP. Again, that wouldn't be surprising to me in the fucking least, because it has become patently clear, whether you like Joe Biden or not, that motherfucker should probably not be running. Seriously, fam, he's giving speeches where he can't even get back on track after he missed something in the teleprompter. Like, the script is right there, and he just loses the shit. This motherfucker goes out and introduces himself with standing there with his wife, introduces himself as his own husband. Man, the man's got a few screws loose. Like, something's not going on right up in the dome piece. And if you think about it, fam, the crazy part about this whole shit is that lying-ass Donald Trump, traitorous-ass Donald Trump, the most corrupt, lying, scheming bastard of a president that America's probably seen in forever. All he has to do to defeat Joe Biden is do something he's not used to doing. Telling the truth. All he has to do to defeat Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in November is simply tell the truth. Matter of fact, if I was Donald Trump, I'd shut up mostly. Because trust me, Biden's going to say something fucking stupid before November that alienates a whole shit ton of folk. Biden has consistently told people, well, go vote for the Republicans then if you won't vote for me. Legit. Like, I'm serious, fam. He's been on the campaign trail and told people, well, I don't care if you vote for me. Shades of Buttigieg. You remember when Buttigieg went and confronted his people back there in South Bend in Indiana, and they were at his neck about police brutality there in South Bend? And this sister said, you know, why should we vote for you? And Buttigieg says, well, I don't care if you vote for me. She said, well, then I won't then. What the fuck kind of campaign you running where you don't care that nobody vote for you? Unless you think that you're such a shoo-in that it don't matter who you alienate. Oh, and fam, they keep telling us young people, hey, what about the courts? If Donald Trump gets in, he's going to put in more conservative members into the courts. Like, we've seen any justice come out of these courts in decades. They've overturned affirmative action. They gutted the Voting Rights Act. They gutted the Civil Rights Act. When's the last time black folk didn't see anything positive come out of the motherfucking judiciary? What, 1970 something? But they think that we're supposed to be afraid of Donald Trump. Even when Barack Obama was in office, and he put, 2 Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court, and we still can't get shit to go our favor? I haven't heard nothing from this Sotomayor chick. John Roberts is not this motherfucking progressive firebrand. Why do we give a fuck about what they do to the courts? The courts for black folk, for ADOS folk, for us, the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States, the courts have been gone. Thank you so much, Darnell, for the love, fam. I appreciate you. For us, fam, the courts have already been gone. We lost the courts, fam, back in the late 70s, early 80s. Ever since Reagan, we have not had a chance, not a hope in hell of getting any type of progress through the judiciary. But they're going to tell us, these liberal white folks, they're going to tell us that no, if we don't get Biden in, the courts are going to go conservative. I say good. Maybe you motherfuckers might get a taste of what it's like to be niggas for a change. For everything that you think is progressive and righteous and sacred and holy and true and just to be thrown up in your face by a judiciary that stands on the motherfucking guidelines of stare decisis and refuse to vote on anything but precedent. The precedents of conservatism that they already set in previous fucking judgments. Maybe America will get a taste of what the fuck that's like. For you to know going in that your argument is fucked from word say go. No matter how legal, how just, how righteous your argument is, because of precedents that was set long before you even filed suit, you're fucked. But again, how does that hurt black folk? We already there. Shit, I've been 47 and I've been waiting on Ruth Bader Ginsburg to actually rule on something that is in our fucking favor. But she's supposedly this progressive firebrand on the court. Make that shit make sense. Hell, as a matter of fact, fam, if you remember the judgment, the ruling that they made on the case with Byron Allen versus Comcast, the person that actually wrote the dissenting report was the one that told us we should hate. It was Kavanaugh. You know, Kavanaugh's the rapist, and he's this, and he's that, and you should hate Kavanaugh because it was Kavanaugh who said, wait a minute, you can't just solely use, race. There's other factors, but you have to include race with those other factors. He didn't stand with the but-for measure, the but-for standard. But we're supposed to hate Kavanaugh because he's a conservative, a Republican. Make this shit make sense. So we get Biden in and what? We get more motherfucking Republicans and Democrats clothing sitting in the judiciary. Big fucking whoop. I like my conservatives and goddamn right wingers out in the open where I can see them. So our young folk understand the game that's being ran upon them. That every 4 years, or every 2 years, or every 6 years, they come to them and say, vote, 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 vote or die. Vote. This is the most important vote. This is the life-changing vote. This is an existential threat. Vote, vote, vote. And when our young folk go out there to vote, they find out that they voted to give everybody else everything and they get nothing. And you wonder why they have no fucking confidence in the goddamn process. What process? You don't need to ask my permission to rob me. That's what the Democrats do every 4 years, is they come to black folk and they ask us our permission to fuck us. Because we get no assistance, no aid, no help, no nothing. You know what, fam? We vote and we die. It's not vote or die. It's not that puffy LeBron bullshit that they pushing. It's not vote or die. It's vote and die. You can vote, niggas, but we still gonna snatch some of you away. We still are gonna reap some of you. So what the fuck is the point for the young folk? They say, what's the point? Oh, but fam, Then this article talks about the turnout depressing effects of voter suppression. Now, am I going to sit here and say that voter suppression isn't a thing? No, I won't. It's clear that with gerrymandering and the whole 9 yards, that yeah, they make it as difficult as legally and as humanly possible for black folk to vote. Shout out to you, DJJ Blue. B1 to you, fam. Darnell, I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Darker Visions, I see you. You in the house. Sister Monty, mwah, mwah. Love you, sis. Welcome to the broadcast. A happy hump day to you all. So voter suppression is a thing. No doubt. But now, is voter suppression really to blame for the fact that black folk won't engage in the process? Because I would argue that young black folk who we actually did see support a Democratic candidate this season, it wasn't the one we supported because we knew better, but like their white counterparts, their white peers, young black voters had actually chosen a candidate. Many young black voters were supportive of Bernard Sanders. Now, as you all know, I have my own issues with Bernard Sanders. Did not support him, will never support him. But young folk bought into the Medicare for all hype, universal health care, all that other stuff, right? Just like their white peers, you can't blame them for that, right? Because, no offense, but universal health care would be good as fuck. Like, I'm not against it. So young black folk were actually kind of rocking with Bernie. But our eldest rocking with motherfucking Jim Clyburn, aka Mr. Fish Fry, and other black sheepdogs, other black Judas goats, sold our motherfucking political capital to Joe Biden for a promise, a hope that he might choose a running mate that was black. Because remember, fam, he said he was going to do it. But for a while, it didn't look like Kamala was necessarily getting the nod. They was talking about Christine Whitmer, the governor in Minnesota. They was talking about possibly finding a way to reconcile him and Elizabeth Warren's wing of the party. There was even a few people that talked about him choosing up that motherfucking Klobuchar corpse. Like, she would have been exciting for anybody to vote for. So they sold our political capital on the hope. There's that word again. Hope and change is what was sold to us under Barack Obama. We took 8 years of a fucking. And young folk ain't stupid. Young folk votes ain't being suppressed. Young folk understand that they're being fed a cup of shit on the Democratic side and a bowl of shit on the Republican side. So they're saying, well, if my only options is to eat shit, I'm going to eat elsewhere, or I'm not going to eat at this table at all. That's reasonable, fam. That's logical. That's logical. They say, young folk, the ones that they polled, that they're not sold on the Democratic Party. They're cynical because they see that the party is not necessarily welcoming to black Americans. Only 47% of them say that the party is welcoming to black Americans, and only 43% say that they trust the Democrats in Congress to do what's best for the black community. The article says here, perhaps most strikingly, unlike their older counterparts, only half of those under 30 view the Democrats as any better than the Republicans on these scores. Which again goes right back to my point. If you got a cup of shit over here and a bowl of shit over here, black folk ain't so stupid that we're going to choose a bowl of shit to eat. Thank you, producer, man. I see you, fam. Welcome. I appreciate you. Welcome to the broadcast. Happy hump day to you. Sister Alma said, what do I think of Obama showing ADOS who he is by talking LeBron James into going back on the basketball court? Shit don't surprise me at all. Barack Obama has been the murderer of movements towards change, justice, righteousness since 2008, since he became president. Barack Obama didn't find a country he wasn't willing to bomb the shit out of as long as he didn't have to send troops to do it. He sent drones. He's sitting there in the White House with a Nobel Peace Prize and blood all over his hands. Why are you shocked at anything Barack do? And besides, fam, I'm going to be honest with you. You think those NBA players really wanted to strike? There was a few of them who were down. I remember I saw an interview, I think it was Sue Bird from the WNBA. She was a firebrand. She was on it, fam. She was like, no. You're not going to keep killing my people. I won't play. But King James is only King James as long as his big dumbass dribbles a ball. You think he actually wanted to strike? Especially when he got the motherfucking owners coming to him and pulling on his ear, saying, "Hey, LeBron, let me holler at you real quick, man. I know you're worried about your people, but we gotta think about the bottom line here." Hell, at this point, I truly believe that LeBron got CTE from getting hit in the head with a basketball too many goddamn times. I don't think he wanted to strike at all. And since he holds himself out as sort of the leader of the NBA, Barack Obama didn't have to push that goddamn hard. He didn't have to make him strike. You don't understand? Or make him stay on the court. LeBron went and sought out advice from Barack Obama because he knew what advice he'd get. Think about it, fam. If I come to you and I know right is right, I know I'm, some shit going on, and I know what right and wrong is, right? But I come to you and say, "Hey, man, what do you think about this?" Right? Does that mean that I'm looking to choose the right? No. That means that I'm hopefully looking for a way for you to justify the wrong. Because if I know what's right, I don't need no advice from nobody. I don't need to go and look for a father figure to tell me what to do when motherfucking Americans is killing my people left and right. I don't need no advice. You think they was going to let those high-priced slaves actually have a mind of their own? Please. And you want to hear something real crazy, fam? The ones that's been going hard in the paint is the ones that barely share our lineage. Like, look at the sister Naomi Osaka, the half Japanese, half ADOS woman, the tennis player. She been going hard in the motherfucking paint. But you got black folk who will say, well, she ain't us. But LeBron is, and will sell us out after one motherfucking night of not playing basketball. I'm sorry, but I'll take Naomi Osaka any day, and America can have LeBron. Fuck him. He's not my king. He don't speak with my voice. And he shouldn't speak with yours. Vote or die. What the hell kind of shit? That's that old 2004 recycled Puff Daddy shit. It didn't work then, and it ain't working for us now. We're voting and still dying. And that's all that LeBron got for us? That's all that Barack and Michelle Obama got for us? That's all these motherfucking stars got for us? They trying to pin a case on our sister Breonna Taylor down in Louisville. They are literally trying to justify the murder of our sister Breonna. They trying to hand her a case. This woman don't have record to first. She was a goddamn paramedic, an EMT. She served the people. And instead of doing right and giving us justice on the bastards that killed her, They actually tried to get her old dude to claim that she was part of a motherfucking drug ring. Fam, we at war with these bastards, man. It's real talk. They will smear you in life and in death to justify anything they do to you. We're voting and dying. So why are you surprised that young folk are sitting there saying, well, shit, if I vote, but that's not stopping the police from killing me if I vote, but that's not helping me to have a job to go to if I vote, but I can't get no care and concern in my neighborhoods to protect my elders and my sick people from the COVID. If I vote and I can't get these motherfuckers off my back to put in some infrastructure in my community so that my kids can afford to go to remote schooling, because we don't talk about the internet gap either. The fact that a lot of our communities don't even have good connections to the internet. Yet we got kids that's supposed to be at home during the COVID-19 educating remotely. You ain't heard Democrats talk about that at all, in the first, at all. You haven't heard Democrats talk about the wealth gap, except to highlight it and say what they're going to do for illegal immigrants, LGBTQIA, and so on and so forth, right? They have no problem using our struggle, our suffering, our pain to say that they're going to uplift the groups they still choose to back. You know, the groups that aren't their corporate owners. That's the only time we've heard from the Democrats, is when they were trying to divide and conquer us by saying that black women were the soul of the Democratic Party and they was going to save everybody. Or when they highlighting our murders, our job losses, our evictions, our lack of wealth, our lack of opportunities, our lack of education, to talk about how they plan to benefit everybody else. You stop me if I'm lying, fam. That's the only time we've heard from the Democrats this campaign season. These cowardly bastards, most of them couldn't even say black. How many times did Bernard Sanders have a mic put in his face and was asked specifically about black issues, and he couldn't wait to pivot to people of color, minorities, so on and so forth? Fam, if we took a baseball bat and threatened to kneecap Bernard Sanders, you couldn't get him to say black. You had Kamala Harris announce her run for the presidency on MLK Day at Howard, draped in a cloak of blackness. The only thing that was missing from her announcement was a step show, some motherfucking greens, and people doing the electric slide. But when she get in front of a microphone and is interviewed and asked specifically, do you support reparations for black people? She gives this beautiful history of the traumas that we have faced in this country. I mean, fam, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I actually watched the interview, the whole interview, not just the little clips, the little snippets we snatched out to shit on Kamala, right? I actually watched the whole interview. And when Kamala first started talking, fam, she was sounding right. She laid out a whole soliloquy. I mean, like 2 minutes, fam, of detail upon detail. So the bitch is not ignorant. She laid it all out. History, the whole history, everything. And then started talking about this LIFT Act. And I'm like, LIFT Act? Bitch, we reviewed that LIFT Act and there ain't shit in there really for black folk. Like, what is you talking about? And then when pressed by the young sister once more to just simply answer the motherfucking question. She finally comes out and says, let's be clear about this. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something specifically for black people. No. Because anything we do for America will benefit all black people. At least she said black. It was to say she wouldn't do shit for us, but at least she said it. You know what though, fam? They try to tell us that Kamala Harris don't have a problem with black men. That's right. The same Kamala Harris that kept black men beyond the end of their sentences in California so that they could fight wildfires for cheap. The same Kamala who refused to let a man off of death row even after exculpatory evidence came that shows that his conviction for the death penalty should be overturned. You know, that Kamala Harris, she don't have a problem with black men. And more importantly, we shouldn't have a problem with her. That's what this article says. Let's take a look. It says, does Senator Kamala Harris have a black man problem? The stakes could not be higher. If African American men vote for President Trump in the same numbers they did in 2016, or if they fail to turn out because of lack of enthusiasm, it could cost Democrats the election. I'm going to pause right there, fam. This article was written on the 18th of August, just a couple of weeks ago. Isn't it funny how after they put every single group, every demographic before us, they talked about dreamers, they talked about immigration, they talked about, trans rights, they talked about everybody else's shit for the whole campaign, through the debates, through the primaries, and all of it. And now that we're running up into the election, now that the whole thing's about to come to the fore, now we hear about black men. Isn't that interesting? Fam, when's the last time you heard a Democrat say anything about black men that wasn't related to criminal justice reform or police brutality? I'll wait. When's the last time? When's the last time any of you heard a Democrat of note refer anything to black men that didn't have to do with us being fucking criminals or us being dead? But now they're talking about, does she have a problem? Does she have a problem with black men? Do they have a problem with Kamala Harris? See, here's more of the bait and switch, divide and conquer in this article. Quote, many African American women were understandably elated when former Vice President Joe Biden selected Harris, whose parents were born in Jamaica and India, as the first black woman and the first Asian woman to appear on a major party presidential ticket. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, Texas Democrat, tweeted, I'm so overwhelmed as I know that women around the nation, women of color, and yes, black women, they even put y'all last when they name shit, can see their equal status in this nation finally. But Houston, we have a problem. But concerns about whether African American men will be as enthusiastic about the vice presidential nominee have resurfaced from the Democratic primary. Harris spent most of her career as a prosecutor in a criminal legal process that disproportionately ensnares African American men. Pause. So they're trying to say that Kamala Harris wasn't the one locking niggas up. She was just a participant in the criminal justice process that actually affects black men. Debate and switch. Kamala Harris as AG, as the top cop, wasn't throwing brothers in way and throwing brothers in jail and throwing away the key. No, that wasn't her. She was just a part of the process. This summer's national reckoning on racial justice shines a harsh light on Harris's past when she boasted she was a top cop. The jokes are firing up on social media. The photo of Biden and Harris superimposed over an image of a prison and captioned, "Locking up the black vote." By the way, I love that meme. That shit's true as fucking funny as hell. And then there's the meme depicting Monopoly, Kamala Harris edition, where every square on the board says "go to jail." Now here's where the fuckery comes in this article. While not as openly discussed, let me translate that for you, fam. When he says, while not as openly discussed, what he actually means is we're not discussing it at all. Because we're not. I have yet, seriously, heard any black men mention what I'm about to read here in this article, fam. While not as openly discussed, Harris's interracial marriage has also been seen as a liability for some black men. Luther Uncle Luke Campbell, the former hip-hop star and now an important player in Florida politics, wrote in 2019, quote, "For better or worse, black men don't want to vote for a black woman who's married a white man." Who the fuck is Uncle Luke? He's not even ADOS. Like, what, you really think that I base my political... Pause. Does anybody think that we actually base our political decisions as black men on what 2 Live Crew had to say about it? Go on, insult us further. Tell us how fucking stupid we are further. Does anybody really truly believe that black female Americans base their voting decisions on whether or not Cardi B endorses them? They keep playing us for fucking fools, fam. They keep acting like we're goddamn children. Like we can't look at policies, history, procedures, precedent. We can't look at the fact that they gag and throw up a little bit in their mouth when they say black. No, that can't be the reason why we don't fuck with a particular candidate from the Democratic side of the house. No, it can't be because we got a problem with continuing the mass incarceration system that locks up millions of our brothers and sisters yearly. No, it can't be that. It's because Uncle Luke has taught us misogyny. Uncle Luke taught us that we can't be voting for no black bitch that married a white dude. Fam, I swear to you, on everything sacred, holy, and true, I literally have not thought about Luke Campbell, Uncle Luke, right, from the 2 Live Crew since like 19 something. No bullshit. I literally have not had a thought in my head that was directly correlated to Luke Campbell since the 19s. No bullshit. But because he might have a problem with Kamala Harris being married to a white dude, that means we all do. See, fam, we got to keep coming back to the fact that because the Dems see our vote as theirs, it belongs to them. Not that they have to earn it. Not that they have to ever do anything for us to get it. No, they can count on our vote. Any whisperings or hints that we may be disaffected, that we may not be so willing to cough up them votes like the hoes we've been, they get to feeling some kind of way. So then they start looking at everything that could possibly be a reason why we didn't choose their particular bowl of shit they put up on offer. In this article here, it says, where does that leave things? Although she never caught on among black folks, male or female, during the primary season, Harris has taken pains to address some of those concerns. In the opening words of her appearance alongside Biden, Harris invoked a moral reckoning with racism and systemic injustice that has brought a new coalition of conscience to the streets of our country demanding change. Bunch of word salad. Don't mean shit. Don't mean shit. What does that mean? What does that mean to say a moral reckoning with racism and systemic justice that has brought a new coalition of conscience to the street of our country demanding change? What does that mean? Where's any tangibles in that? Where's any promise? Where's any hint of legislation in that phrase or statement? It's just rhetoric. That's all it is. So we supposed to be swayed by her Obama 2.0 rhetoric and nothing else. That's her making the attempt to reach out to black folk. Is that she gonna talk nice to us, talk real purty to us, like Barack Obama used to before he got into power. Then when he got into power, we was thugs. And it was stop crying, stop complaining, take off your house slippers, put on your marching shoes, vote. You know, the fucking derider in chief. That's supposed to impress us? We done already had 8 years of that bullshit. You think we signing up for another 8, another 4, another 2, another day of that bullshit? I don't think so. But this was Kamala reaching out to black men. The moral reckoning. I couldn't give a fuck about America thinking about anything when it comes to morality. I already know as a black man, this country don't have no fucking conscience. You can't convince me that every white head or every Asian head or every Latino that's out there, even though they might be wearing a shirt that says Black Lives Matter, is out there because they give a fuck about black people. Many of them have their own beefs, their own agendas, their own grievances with the United States of America. And it just so happens that we all got together at the same time and decided to bring that shit to Uncle Sam. But we would be some damn fools to pretend that everybody out there marching is all of a sudden a part of this great moral coalition of conscience to do shit for black people. And fam, here's another point to make. Even if that was true, so let's say that Kamala's rhetoric was 100% true, that there is a moral reckoning with racism and systemic injustice that has brought a new coalition of conscience to the streets of our country demanding change. Let's say that that was 100% true. In that speech she gave, accepting the VP spot from Biden, did you hear about any legislation that's going to punish and lock away and or execute these murderous cops? Did you hear about her and Biden saying on day one they're forwarding legislation to remove federal funding from local police departments to stop militarizing them and taking that funding and actually contributing to our community? Did you hear any of that in Kamala's speech? I'll give you the easy answer. Nope. But this is her reaching out to us, fam. This is her extending the hand. Fuck, I hate to see what it was like if the bitch was cutting us off. Oh, but fam, it gets better. Because you remember they mentioned Luke's aspirations on politics in Florida, right? Look how quickly the bitch made motherfucker turned. Harris's formidable political skills should not be discounted. After Campbell criticized her politics and marriage, Harris's staff set up a conversation between the two. Campbell ended up endorsing Harris in the Florida primary. I'm a man, he said. I could say I made a mistake. So they tried to use the little statement that Uncle Luke said about Kamala as a reason why black men might have a problem with her being married to some Ofe, to some Buckra, right? And then in the same article come back and mention though that Luke don't feel like that. He actually supports Kamala Harris. He made a mistake. I made a mistake. Right? Get the fuck out of here. So he goes on to talk about Crump. Here, I'll put the link to the article in the chat so you can review it for yourself. As always, fam, there you go. Benjamin Crump talking about our sister in the movement for justice. Man, if they don't get the fuck out of here, I can't with these fools, man. I can't with these fools. Ain't nobody asked Kamala to divorce her, dude. I couldn't give a less. I couldn't give a care less who she fucking. Hell, I didn't have a problem with her screwing Willie Brown. What I got a problem with is the bitch screwing us. I don't consent. The fucking Kamala is giving black people is non-consensual. We don't consent. That's my problem with Kamala Harris. I don't care who she fuck. What I care about is the fact that she fucking me and I don't consent. I'm not with it. I'm not with her screwing my people over. I don't consent. No means no, bitch. We said no to Kamala Harris in the primaries, fam. We said no to Kamala Harris across the board. This wasn't just black men. We weren't just on some misogyny shit. We said no because we understood that she was a threat to us then. And so because the Democrats love you so much, because they actually respect you black people, because they actually care so much about what your needs are, what your concerns are, what your issues are, and are looking to address it, they not only give you the architect of the system that locks away more of your people than any other nation in the world, but gives you the top motherfucking cop of one of the biggest states in the whole damn country as their VP. You know, the person that's one heartbeat away from being the president. Oh, and ski-wee. Don't forget about that. The hot sauce. That's what the Dems gave you. They gave you Joe Biden, Jim Crow Joe, and Kamala Harris. So do black men have a problem with Kamala Harris? Yeah, I'd say we do. I don't really go in for non-consensual sexual activity. I don't like getting fucked without my permission. Sorry, just not my cup of tea. I'm not going to sit here and back Jim Crow Joe knowing that for 40 years, this son of a bitch has had his hand on the reins of power, and every opportunity he's gotten to do harm to me and my people, he's done it. And enthusiastically. When you ask Jim Crow Joe about his stance on all this shit that he's done to us, he said, what are you talking about? I wrote the bill. You don't have to give me the details. I know them by heart. I wrote the bill. Before I open up the lines, fam, one last article. Biden wants black voter turnout similar to Obama's. He'll need black men. It's an article in the New York Times, right? Written August 25th. You noticing a trend here, fam? You notice a trend that the closer we get to the election, the more they want to actually bring up black men. They're hoping beyond hope that after neglecting us the whole primary season, after pretending they didn't even know what a black man was during the primaries, that we somehow or another are going to be swayed by their bullshit rhetoric now. Because they know that without us turning out en masse, I'm not talking about just black women, black men, without black people turning out en masse, that Biden ain't got an iceberg's chance in hell of getting the goddamn nod for president. Biden wants black voter turnout similar to Obama's, he'll need black men. And of course they find some simp that talks about sexism playing a role in black male apathy for Hillary Clinton. Look, fam, I'm just going to keep it 100% honest with you. I would like to know where all this rampant sexism comes from that's supposed to be the province, the domain of black men alone. When each and every last one of us have a mama, a big mama, that's almost like God to us from the moment we draw our first breath. We supposedly so misogynist, right? So anti-female that we can't see a female in power when we're the only ethnic demo in the country that regularly is used to seeing females in power. You could go to damn nearly any neighborhood in our country, and it ain't the brothers that run the show. Ain't nobody scared of uncles, daddies, none of that shit. They scared of mamas. What up, Unsunken One? I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Barrington, I see you, fam. Welcome. Slam Bradley, I'm going to continue to speak. Sister Strongflower in the house. Welcome. Where's this rampant thread of misogyny that we supposedly have? Like, we not used to seeing women that are in charge of shit. I'm still trying to get somebody to explain this to me. We have in our families matriarchs. Nobody denies this. There's sociologists, anthropologists, scientists that have studied our communities, and they realize that we're the only ethnic demo that actually lives in a de facto matriarchy. But yet we're supposedly so damn misogynist that we can't even possibly conceive the idea of a woman being in charge of anything? Are you serious? Whether you feel that us living in a de facto matriarchy is right or wrong, that's our culture as it currently stands, as it's currently extant. Our culture is that women run the show. So we're supposedly so goddamn misogynistic, or so have so much misogynoir that we can't see any female being in charge of shit. And they always gotta find some simp, some bootleg who co-signs this shit. Brother, I'm gonna tell you, if you got a problem with women being in charge of something, speak your mouth. Don't put your mouth on every brother I hear. I would say that engaging Black America has we have a whole mommy thing. Mama is everything. Think about this. You can have a dude who's 6'8", play basketball at the top level. He's elite. This motherfucker been dribbling the ball ever since he was 3. And his daddy was there every step of the way. Going to games, working on him with his drills, the whole 9 yards. This motherfucker get an NBA contract. Who he thank? He thanked 2 people. I'll give you one of them, and you can guess the other one. He thanks God, and then who's the second one he thanks? Go on, fam. Pop the answer in the chat. He gets an NBA contract. And when they put the mic in front of his face, he said, I would like to thank God, giving all glory to God and Jesus in heaven. And then who's the next person he says thank you to? He thanks mama. No bullshit. Daddy been there with the basketball, the drills, whole 9 yards, changing the flat tires so he could get to a game way across town, whole 9 yards. Was there at every motherfucking game while he was in college, the whole 9 yards. He get that big contract. He thanking 2 people, God himself and his mama. And you know what? To show you how misogynistic black men really are, we sit there, we clap, and we look at his mama, and we grateful to her too, even though we did all the motherfucking work to make his ass great. That's how misogynistic we are. He thanked God and his mama and the brother who was there every step of the way. It could have been not just his daddy, it could have been his uncles, could have been his big cousin, his big homie, whole 9 yards. But the brother that was there the whole time, that helped him patch his foot up when he sprained his ankle on the court out there playing a game of pickup, the whole 9 yards. That cat who was there will turn to his mama, who just made sure that she kept the roof and shit over his head. Because remember how black folk could tell you, you lucky that I put food in your mouth, clothes on your ass, and a roof over your head. And he'll clap for her too. That's how misogynistic we are, fam. That's how much we hate women. We'll discount every effort we made towards any black person's success so that we can uplift the mama. But the first thing they want to do whenever a woman doesn't get a fair shake in the society and they think that black men play a role in it or a hand in it, is the first thing they want to scream is misogyny, misogynoir. The fuck out of here. We got a goddamn culture that worships mothers, that uplifts women. Big Mama is God in all of y'all household. But we supposedly so misogynistic that that's why Hillary couldn't get the vote. Not because she called us predators and consigned a whole generation of my brothers to football numbers in prison or to jail, or to grave sites or to nut houses or strung out on dope. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't the fact that her husband deregulated everything and raised the .com bubble where all you had to do to become a billionaire in America was have a domain name, an office with a ping pong table, and be white. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't the fact that her husband, and she backed it, signed one of the most egregious trade agreements with NAFTA that basically took jobs that were our entree into something resembling a middle class and farmed that shit out to maquiladoras in Mexico. No, it wasn't that. It's because she a woman. I'm not even gonna read this motherfucking article. I can't. I can't, fam. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of them trying to come out and tell us, finally, after they've exhausted everything with everybody else, after they've uplifted motherfuckers who ain't even citizens, after they uplifted people because of who they screwing or not screwing, right? Uplifted people based off of their pronouns, uplifted the black woman as much as they possibly could without making her head pop from swelling it so much. Only after all of that do they then turn to you, black men, but you're the last one they will offer any type of actual, substantive, tangible, targeted policy to. I say to you, brothers and sisters, but especially brothers, if you think this ticket is going to save you from the most egregious excesses of Donald Trump, you'd be wrong. Nothing can save you from that. America itself is taking a fucking under Trump. At least the wealth is getting shared around this time. At least the pain and suffering is everybody else's to eat some of this time. I don't give a damn if they need us. We don't need them. We don't need them. 4 more years of Donald Trump don't scare me at all. I done dealt with 44 Donald Trumps. My people have dealt with 44 Donald Trumps. Fam, we literally have had 44 Donald Trumps, including Barack Hussein Snowbama. You think we actually really scared all that much about what Trump is likely to do in the next 8? Oh, but he's going to end democracy. End democracy for who? My vote don't mean shit no way. Oh, I'm going to cast it. I'm going to be a part of the process just so that people don't get to talk shitty to me because I didn't participate. But let's keep it a full ass buck. If voting was actually going to really do something substantive for black folk, it would still be impossible for us to do it. I'll say that again to you, fam. If voting was actually going to, at this stage in the game, legitimately do something substantive, targeted, tangible for us as a tribe, they would find a way to make it either illegal or impossible for us to do it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Because when our votes could count, we were under Jim Crow. When there was enough of us in this country to actually have any real sway over the policies of this country, they made sure black people couldn't vote for shit. They gunned you down if you went to register to vote. And with poll taxes and all that other shit, trust me, when our numbers would support, when we had numbers enough to be able to truly affect the trajectory of Fortress America, they had us under Jim Crow. And they waited until they had enough numbers from immigrants from Europe, until we couldn't really do nothing to affect our change before they said, oh, well, you know what? They can't really do shit. There's still plenty of us that white or white identified or white adjacent or pets of whites or satellites of whites. We can go ahead and get them niggas to vote now. It's not a big deal. You think it actually cost LBJ something to sign in the Voting Rights Act for us? Nope. Because by that time, fam, their numbers had increased and they made other people white. They made the Irish white. They made Germans white. They made Italians white. They made Mexicans and other Latin groups white. They made East Asians white. So after they buttressed their numbers, it don't cost them shit to give us the vote then. Fam, nobody wants to talk about that fact. That if voting actually would be truly transformational, I'm not saying let's not vote, but I'm saying if voting itself alone was truly transformational in ensuring that we got our due, it would be illegal. It would be something that we would be killed for doing. Just like our ancestors were back in the day under Jim Crow. So this whole vote or die, we living under existential threats to our democracy. Democracy for who? Democracy don't exist for black folk. Our votes don't mean shit whether D or R. You vote for who? You can vote for whatever bowl of shit you want to scoop out of. That's it. They'll give you a nice heaping spoonful every night before you go to bed of dog shit. You ain't getting no substantive policies. No. There's only one thing that will actually ensure that along with voting, we actually have a shot at being heard regardless of who it is that's in power or not in power. Only one thing. El-Malik El-Shabazz gave a speech called The Ballot or the Bullet. I would like to beg to differ with my esteemed brother. I believe that it should be the ballot and or the bullet. The threat of us out there on the streets burning this motherfucker down is the only reason why they even listening to us now. Regardless of the fact that everybody else is out there on their own agendas and shit. You got, different groups that got their own beefs with the United States that just, see the whole Black Lives Matter thing as a springboard for their own aims, goals, whatever. Fine. Forget all that. The fact that we are disaffected enough to be out there in the streets, to burn shit up, to fight the motherfucking cops, that's what's got them shook. That's the only, truthfully, fam. By the way, shout out to Ryobi. Thank you for joining the Angry Black Sheep. Welcome to the herd. Truth be told, that is the only reason why we have even gotten a mention at all in this campaign season. Because you remember what it was like for black folk with the Democrats and how little they mentioned us and shit before COVID? Y'all remember the first debates way back before COVID, before the Rona became a thing? And they would have these 2-hour long debates with 20 motherfuckers on stage. They would mention black people once and then spend the rest of the time talking about LGBT, immigrants, so on and so forth. Matter of fact, wasn't it during one of the debates when Biden asked directly, does he support reparations, gave a 2-minute long speech about how fucked up it was how we treat immigrants? He didn't even bother to address reparations, fam. Y'all remember that shit? But now that the Rona's here, now that 2053 might be 2023 for black people at this point, who knows? Now that we've got some of us with enough gumption to go out there and not just be dancing and doing the electric slide at motherfucking community events after they kill one of us and shoot us in the back. Shout out to them weak, jelly-back, yellow-belly motherfuckers up there in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We actually got black people out here and said, you know what, I'm ready to burn this motherfucker up. How about you? Now they want to listen. What up, Unapologetically Black? What up, B-Man? I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Yep, we passed voting. At least voting by itself. And I say that it has long been overdue. That's right. It's long been overdue, fam. We can either do politics or we can do the bullets. And if you press us, we'll do both. You need us, they say. You need black men, you say. Yet you keep taking us away from our children, away from our women, away from our community, to lock us up, to be slave labor under your 13th Amendment loophole. You need black men, yet you don't need us enough to protect us from the motherfucking police who put 7 bullets in our back and watch us bleed out on the pavement. You need black men, but we can't get policy, study, nothing to first without giving it to everybody else. Biden says reparations, well, we can talk about it as long as we're talking about Native Americans too. The fuck? What? No. Your shit with the natives is their shit. Any treaties and all of the other shit you got to do with the natives, that's between you and them. That ain't got shit to do with the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States. I say, if you needed me, you should have reached out for me earlier. Now all I vote for is pain. I don't vote for evil. I vote for pain. So I'm putting greens at the top of the ticket. I'm not voting for Trump. I'm not voting for Biden. Fuck both of them. And if that means Trump get another 4 years, cry more, bitches. Come November 4th, the day after the election, when they say Trump's won another term, I'm going to be sitting there with my cup like this, collecting salty ass tears all over this country. I'm going to be ice cold, no remorse. And when they come with the narrative that black folk, especially black men, are to blame, I got 4 words for them. I'm going to put on my motherfucking Joker hat. I'm going to look them right in the eye and say, I did that shit. I did that shit, fam. 425-296-1980 is the number. You know what it is, fam. I want to hear from you. Shout out to Oaktown Girl. What up, fam? ADOS in the house. I want to hear from you. Black men, they said they need you now. How you feel about that? The Democrats are saying they need your vote. How does that make you feel, fam? Sisters, what do you think about the fact that they ain't talked about your brothers, your tribesmen in a coon's age? No pun intended. But now all of a sudden they got their eye on us. How do you feel about that? Easy be easy sell shit. He's on his Thanos shit. Me too, fam. Me too. Come November 4th, fam, I'm on my Thanos shit. I'm gonna look him right now and be like, I don't even know who you are. Why you crying to me? I don't even know who you are. They better hope that I don't end up with an infinity glove by November the 3rd to get my people on political code. Because, boy, when I snap, it's going to be a bitch. Them Democrats will be crying like a motherfucker. Exactly. Barrington said, how bad must Dems' internal polling have to be for them to court their arch nemesis, black men? Facts. Thank you for calling.
First of all, stay clean, man. COVID-19. So we're gonna get right to the juice, man.
Right.
Yo, I ain't voting for no niggas. I am not voting for them.
Say it again, fam. I'm not voting for them niggas.
I'm gonna keep it so real with you. They're trying to. I'm a part of the. I'm gonna say that I'm a part of one of those civic groups, whatever, and doing the campaigns and all that nonsense. And I'm running up money like this. They're trying so hard to get into the black community in so many different avenues. The churches, they know that the churches, they ain't reaching us anymore. The civic groups ain't really reaching us anymore. We are so detached as a group.
Yep.
On a national standpoint, I don't think black people are really aware how far we are removed from basically the American culture as a whole when it comes to the voting process, the politic process, and the civic engagement process.
Yeah.
All those coincide together. And a lot of people
we're gonna need a lot of hurting because we're not abreast to these type of things. These are things that we frown upon and we call white.
Yeah.
And we need to really snap out of that. It has nothing to do with color about when it comes to survival of your race.
Now here's the thing, pause, because I agree with you that there is a strain, right, of anti-engagement, right? That's white people shit to be involved in politics. There's a strain of that in our community, right? So I'm not saying you're wrong, but like everything else though, we have to make sure that we're not looking at symptoms, but we're looking at the cause, the root cause, right? If you think about it, okay, fam, I don't know how old you are. How old are you, brother?
I'm a double 3-3, man.
That's my man. Okay, so you in your 30s, right? You know your man's in his 40s. I'm 47, right? So we ain't that far apart, all right? You remember when we was younger and shit, right? That the only time we had any civic engagement from anybody that was involved in government was either when the police was locking us up or when we had to go to the city to pay some ticket or bill or some shit, right? First of all, in order for there to be effect,
going to the NAACP, or we going to the NAACP.
Nah, fam, because I'm gonna tell you, the NAACP in my community, I'm just speaking on my experience, right? So I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying in my experience, the NAACP in my community was an old head thing. They didn't give a fuck about reaching out to young folk. Matter of fact, we knew a few people that was with the NAACP, and we had heard about some shit that the NAACP had did like forever ago, but we weren't ever able to tie that to us in any real shape or fashion. And matter of fact, the NAACP never even made that push to us. They never came to say, hey, we the NAACP. Do you know what we about? Do you know what we done for you? Don't you young brothers want to see? Civil engagement, fam, is something that is like any other cultural thing. It has to be taught. Mm-hmm. When you're not teaching civic engagement, why do you expect civic engagement? You dig? In other words, if you don't...
You're 100%,
Yeah.
100% right on that. Because I can go into a little bit about my background. I can talk about it publicly. Like, I'm a part of two different civic groups. I'm also a president of the civic group. So when I'm talking about all this stuff, I might say it jokingly for the people out there, but I'm dead damn serious, because this is stuff that I've experienced on the ground floor of being as president of an organization, or being on the cabinet level, seeing how things or policies are pushed. All these gears and all these mechanic stuff are tools for us to use to practice for when you do have elections, when you do have certain things. These are miniature warfares going on in those caverns, per se.
I agree with you. I agree with you. As a matter of fact, fam, do you remember when I was talking, it was like a few broadcasts ago, where I mentioned for the first time the Greens, and I indicated that one of the ways that we could learn civic engagement and start teaching it as a part of our culture is by maybe taking over the local machinery of the Green Party in our jurisdictions, right? Because the Green Party is local, is, state and national, right? One way that we could kind of get our political feet wet, right, to start to develop the habits of political and civic engagement is by participating in caucuses and developing party planks and platforms and so on and so forth.
I'm gonna interject on something, and it's really good that you brought up the Green Party and the national platform. Like, what's going on is with the Democrats and the Republicans alike, they're getting, and I get it through civic engagement activities, we're getting gridlocked. So every time we put in a policy or anything, we don't have a national front representation for us.
Yep.
That we can gravitate to. And this is like this with many other civic organizations. When you have other cultures that come into America, they have a geographic reference to the country of origin that they're from.
Facts.
And they can always reference back to that. We don't have that, but we have the national power behind us on these type of issues. But it's not funneled and constructed in such a way. And I don't want to go too nerdy on you guys about this.
No, fam. Hey, look, we angry black sheep, fam. But first, we nerds. Go in.
So, like, what I mean is that, like this is some of the things that I experienced with one of the organizations that I'm a part of. It's like every time I had policies I wanted to kick, I had to go through my district governor, and they gridlocked me. I don't have the numbers to vote, or I don't have people in position to carry the votes and carry the water for me on these issues.
Right.
So I'm basically throwing out a line and it ain't nothing moving. But if I have a national chapter backing me, I don't have to go through my district governor for no damn votes, no conversations. No, I'm just getting the goodies. I'm getting all the trinkets, and I'm handing them out, and I'm doing what I need to do.
Fam, and that's why I suggest this is an interim measure, because look, quite frankly, I believe we need to have our own party. We need to have our own PACs, our own parties. We need to make sure that we self-care politically for ourselves, because ain't nobody else gonna do it like we do it. Sure, the Greens is more towards what we need and what we want to anybody else, but then they also too got to get white folks on board, so they're gonna talk about Medicare for all and all this and that and the third, right? Okay, I get it. You got to give other people shit too. Okay, cool, right? But what that means is that they're not going to be 100% focused on everything that we need. So we ultimately need our own shit. But that being said, the Greens kind of already have they blazed the trail so that we don't have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, right? They have internal understanding of how we can get 5% voting, right, so we can have national representation. They've also had members that are Greens in the National Congress, whether they were congressmen or senators or whatever. They've actually had experience getting people into office.
When I'm saying with these civic groups, there's a lot of back deals internationally wise. I'm telling you from experience from the ground up, going to the UN, going to other locations that I have privilege to go to. I'm going to say it through like this. We are on our own in the global world. We need to be reaching out to certain communities outside of America.
I agree.
We need to start building up either some type of fraternal connections.
I agree.
Whatever we need to do to like, and that's the form of what I would consider a form of a connection of Pan-Africanism. I might not agree with it, but if it's to embed us and to better the whole entire global community, I don't see nothing wrong with it per se.
Here's the thing.
I don't want us to get. I don't want us to get effed in the butt over this either. I do agree with you.
I'm not. See, here's the problem I have with Pan-Africanism, right? You can't unite with somebody who doesn't want for you what you want for yourself, right? We see recently on social media. I don't know how involved you are on various social media platforms, but you know.
Akon said.
No. I wasn't talking about Akon because that shit was crazy enough. No, I'm talking about recently. There was a thing where Adele, the singer Adele, you know, the white, blue-eyed soul sister, right, was in Jamaica, right, with Bantu knots and had on a Jamaican, you know, flag bikini and shit like that, right? Now, us Black Americans, being who we are, we roast everybody. Like, you not even sacred if you a member of our people. You see what I'm saying? So anybody can get it. So a few people threw a little shade and was like, she looked funny, you know, Bantu Nas, blase, skippy, woo woo. We literally watched almost all of Flag Twitter rise up in revolt to protect this white bitch. I kid you not. Now, what that taught me was one very important lesson. And that was this. We can't assume moving forward that simply because we have similar interests in defeating white supremacy, that we first of all see white supremacy the same, and second of all that we are able to tie our respective interests together, right? So in other words, the Africans seem to believe that it's just about getting control over their resources and this, that, and the third, right? Okay, cool. Well, we don't have no resources, so our fight's different, right? But we can't count on them to say, well, you know, yeah, we got resources over here that we're trying to protect from these white folks, right, from the Europeans, but we also need to be looking out for the brothers and sisters that are the descendants of slaves in the United States because they ain't got nothing, right? Where's the flotilla of ships from the African Union that are offering free trips and repatriation and land and citizenship? I remember, I don't know if you're familiar with
that's why I said, big brother. That's why I said that there got to be a fraternal connection. And I said that we have no fraternal connection. Some of these African nations have been some of these organizations for over hundreds of years.
But they've not done anything for us.
When Samuel L. Jackson pointed out and said that there was integration in Africa, and at the same time we were having segregation, and our views are so drastically different. When you look at the UK guys, this is throughout the diaspora. It's not me throwing shade.
No, I hear you, fam.
You are 110% right that their views are very strange because of how they were colonialized and how they were how that process went through. They more or less submitted to white supremacy. We fought it. So it's a little bit, we have two different mentalities going on here.
Yeah.
It's almost like a too bigger thing in the diaspora. It's two tails wagging. The one in America and the rest of the diaspora.
That's facts. That's absolutely facts. You have American blacks and everybody else. And that's the one thing I don't think we ever really understood, because everybody grifts on us, especially if they skin folk, right? I'm not talking about the white folks or Asians or Latinos, Hispanics. I'm talking about so-called skin folk. Everybody grifts on us so much that we never realized or even thought of the possibility that they may have their own interests that don't coincide with ours. They got a completely different understanding and a completely different engagement with white supremacy than we do. I'll say this. Their engagement is to acquiesce. Our engagement is to fight these motherfuckers. We've been fighting since we've been here. No lie. Over 250 documented uprisings, insurrections, and rebellions of black slaves alone. right? We were fighting these motherfuckers from word say go. And we fought them then, we fight them now. But they come here and they become satellites of white supremacy, right? They come here and they take advantage of what little access or adjacency to whiteness they can get, knowing that they have a homeland they can return to and not have to worry about white supremacy there, right? Mm-hmm. Like a Nigerian come here, most of the time the Nigerians that come here, like we don't see their lower crust mostly, right? We don't see the lower crust Nigerians, the ones that are the Diallos or the slave class there in Nigeria. We don't see them, right? They're like us. Most of us can't afford to go to Africa.
And all the other ones, the ones that own slaves.
Right. We see the ones that are of means.
Those are the ones that's funny that you bring that up. That Tone we're talking about that my great grandfather was a Nigerian slave holder or whatever that shit was, writing that bullshit. But anyways, she was writing this crap saying about how her ancestors had unrestricted resources all around the world. When I said that I bumped into some of these people on the low, I bumped into a couple of them. It rubs me the wrong way. And then when you start having a detailed conversation to them with it, they want to pull back. They don't want to tell who they are.
Yep.
It's almost a form of disrespect, if you ask me.
It is.
Like, because you're in my country and you're not identifying yourself. That's like me coming in your house and not identifying myself.
Facts. You can't look, fam. You can't go nowhere in Africa. Nowhere in Africa and just post up and be like, oh no, I'm people's too. You can't go to the Congo and be like, I'm people's here. You can't go to South Africa and be like, oh, I'm people's too. I have a say too. But they feel real fucking free-hearted coming here and interjecting themselves into a political history and an understanding of things in a society that they have no fucking investment in, no clue of how things have gone down here, right? And part of that has been on us because of this desire to reconnect.
We want to be liked by we want to be liked by everybody, and that's a big, I'm gonna say a big problem with ourselves in the community.
I won't say that. I won't say we have a need to be liked by everybody. But what I will say is that up until, and I will again give full 100% credit to Yvette and Tone for bringing this out to the fore. I'm not saying they were the first to say it. But I will say that they were the ones that in this modern incarnation of it really drove it home. It's because we have never really cleaved to what the truth of our lineage is. Whenever you used to talk to black people before and you mentioned slavery, right? Enslavement, it was with a sense of shame and disgust that we ever even discuss it. Right? But now you have black people who understand that fuck what you heard. That's my lineage. That you don't get the shit on that. Yes, I'm a descendant of the enslaved here in the United States. And you're not going to treat me any old kind of way because I come from some of the baddest motherfuckers that ever walked the face of this earth. That's a whole different dynamic, fam. And I think that at this particular point, nobody knows how to deal with us. Nobody understands how to deal with us because that dynamic, that us putting the motherfucking gate up, that us saying you can't just come over here and wear my lineage like a cloak because you share skin color with me, that's new to everybody. And so what we're seeing is the growing pains. But do I agree with you that ultimately our ultimate worldwide global fate is in some way tied to Africa and how Africa goes? Yeah, I agree with you to a certain extent on that, right? As Africa goes, so do we to a certain extent.
We don't even have that. When I say that, I'm in those environments, in those circles, and those relationships are strange. Like, it boils my skin alive when I see Africans go out their way to talk to everybody, see the man, but the black man in America. It boils me to no end, and especially in America.
But the only ones though that have made that attempt to create bridges between us and Africa are always somebody that black people can't unite around. Like, I'll give you a case in point. I respect.
They'll point to his religious ideology.
Right. I respect the brother, right? But I'm not gonna ever be a member of the Nation of Islam, so I can't ride with Farrakhan to a certain extent. That doesn't mean that I hate him, that I want to see, his people get fucked over or anything like that. But I shouldn't have to become a member of the nation in order to have connections with Africa. Right? Or if
and
you
the same thing with the Christian church.
Right.
Have to be a member
I shouldn't have to be a Christian in order to be able to make those political ties, those economic ties, those social ties that you're saying that we need with Africa and vice versa. Right? So we've had attempts to make those connections, but they've been swamped by people's various religious views and stuff like that, to where not every black person can get on board. Now, one thing I do want to say before we end this call is that you mentioned the UN, and I will tell you that I believe that our next fight for representation will involve the UN in some way, shape, or fashion. Right? I know that Donald Trump has made a point to alienate everybody in the motherfucking UN he possibly can, but that's because it feeds red meat to his base who are against this globalist shit. The nativist whites in this country that's all America, everything, that wear American flag draws and eat American flag spoons and this, that, and the third, right? So we know that that's the case. But at the end of the day, I can't forget that the UN has made clear that America owes us a debt. Right? They've done reports and studies that show clearly that without reparations, the United States of America are essentially robbing black folk. Right? So the UN has done that. I believe that we need our own, what's her face? What's that little Norwegian girl, the one that goes around and talks about.
You're talking about about our own little spokesactivists.
Yeah.
And yes, those are men. I'm gonna say, as far as with that conversation, I'm gonna say those are engineered, my brother.
I would really strongly say that on the low level.
Yeah, no, I mean, but engineered or not, if they can engineer it, we can engineer it too. We need our own little Greta Thunberg. We need somebody that's adorable as fuck to everybody in the world, who will get there in front of the UN and not pull a Mark Lamont Hill and die on a Palestinian hill, but will actually sit there and advocate for us. Because Mark Lamont Hill gets in front of a microphone and he sits there and talks about the goddamn, you a nigga, you at the UN. You at the UN, right? The greatest governing body on the planet motherfucking Earth, okay? And you, a black man, open your mouth. And what comes out of your mouth is not full-throated, unabashed, unapologetic, full-bore advocacy for your own ethnic group, but for some motherfucking Arabs? Like, make that shit make sense. No.
I'm saying that there's going to be a new crop of people that, not our generation, but the following generation, that I don't think they're going to be running away from blackness at all. I think they're going to embrace it.
I hope not.
I think that they're going to fight. I'm saying they're not in the manner of Mark Lamont Hill. I'm saying that they're going to fight for our interests and our views. Because they've seen, we're in the information age. Our children are seeing what's going on with us in real live time. And they're going to wonder, why was my parent acting a certain way? Why was my parent at that given moment was really heavily concerned about how I was behaving or how my father was behaving? And those questions are going to be answered when their child is on that Google.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, what type of child is going to come at the end of the result of that is going to be yet to be determined.
Well, you know what, fam? I often say, as you well know, that I'm trying to plant trees under shade, under whose shade I'll never sit. I don't believe that in my lifetime, I'm 47, I don't believe in the next 10, 20, 30 years we going to have this battle be done with, right? But I'm hoping that I'm able to set the tone for the younglings that come up behind me, right? The ones who can be unapologetically aligned with our lineage, who have no shame in their voice when they mention that they are the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States, who are all about full bore, full-throated, unabashed advocacy by any means, using any tool, using any weapon, in any venue. You feel me? That's what I'm aiming for. Because, in point of fact, that's what is going to be needed moving forward, right? We cannot go back to the old way of thinking that our fight is limited to vigils, protests, voting. No. Our ancestors told us, right? Ida B. Wells Barnett told us, she said the Winchester rifle should have the place of honor in every black household to provide us the protection and the justice that the white society will not. We need to understand that some of this might come down to blood, to fisticuffs, to bullets. We need to be able to defend ourselves and protect ourselves. We need to do this shit in spite of what we're doing politically. This is not.
But I agree with 110% agree with us. I'm more by the book type of guy. So knowing my background in certain things, I would prefer black people to build up more institutions to house that. For example, if they're talking about defenses that magnitude, I will point to a security firm per se.
But you know what, fam? It has to be us. Because the problem is that if you look back at our history in this country, every organization that we've gotten behind has either been co-opted, murdered, or exiled. I'm not talking about just the people. I'm talking about they've killed our organizations. The thing that I love the most about ADOS, right, which is why I'm still an advocate all the way for ADOS, even though I have my issues with Democratic down ballot. They can explain it to me 50,000 times. I'm never going to accept it. But I still ride with ADOS because ADOS gave me the greatest weapon that I think that black people have never heard of. And that is the weapon of our lineage. That is the tool. That is the one link that binds us all, regardless of who you fucking or not fucking, regardless of your level of education, regardless of your social economics, regardless of anything. We share the same heritage. When we call each other fam, it's in a real truth that we are, to an extent, related. You see what I'm saying? We are tribes people. And I think that the more we push that, and damn all the differences, the small differences that keep us apart, the more we push the lineage piece and the more we stand on that, the stronger we're going to become for every other thing that we're looking to do, because they can't kill our lineage. You can't kill who I come from, right? You can kill me. They can come in here right now while I'm on this broadcast, kick in my door and blow Mark Black's brains up against this motherfucking wall behind me, right? Boom, I'm gone. But you can't kill the fact that I'm your brother, that I'm your tribesman, that I'm Sister Monty's tribes brother. You can't kill that. You can't destroy that shit. You see what I'm saying?
And that's what makes it internal.
Exactly.
That's what makes our essence still here, even if we're still gone. Depending on that man's work. And shout out to Mr. Chad and got RIP to him. Yeah. But I'm gonna just say, his essence is still going to be here. Nipsey Hussle, his essence is going to be here.
Facts.
Kobe, his essence is going to be here because of what they've done in their work.
Exactly.
I'm going to sign off on that, OG, and I want to say thank you, man.
No, I thank you, brother. Always thank you, man. Keep up keep your eye on the prize. Keep your head on a swivel. Know that you are never alone in this. You have tribes, people you've never met, who got your back 100%, fam, and we're gonna fight all the way to the end.
Amen, man. You already know. We're gonna keep on rocking.
Yes, sir. Peace, brother. Peace.
Peace.
Great call, fam. Yeah, Barrington's right. There's power in exclusivity. As a matter of fact, I would argue power is exclusive. When we talk about supremacy, we don't talk about supremacy in general. What do we refer to it as? White supremacy, because white denotes something. White stands for something. White is exclusive. White lets you make comparisons between white and non-white. Exclusivity, there is power in exclusivity. You don't have to be ashamed or defend yourself to nobody for cleaving to your people. A Kikuyu will tell you in a minute that he's Kikuyu and dare you to say something ill about his tribe. Right? A San will tell you in a minute he's San and dare you to say something bad about his tribe. Well, guess what? I'm a descendant of the enslaved in the United States, and I dare you to say something about my people. Fuck you. It's us against the whole rest of this motherfucker. You know why it is? Not because I want it that way, but because that's the way everybody else make it. That's the fight everybody else fight, is for exclusivity. Latinos and Hispanics and Chicanos in the 50s, while we was getting our heads kicked in fighting against Jim Crow, sat there and said, hey, that fight's a black people fight. We ain't got no parts of that. Don't get involved in that. Why? Because they was exclusive. I don't hate them for that. What I do is I see it. And I claim that same right of exclusivity for the descendants of the enslaved in the United States. You don't get to wear our motherfucking lineage like a cloak. You don't get to put on a face, pretend you us, to make your way through this motherfucker. No, you got to get it where you get it. You got to get in where you fit in. 425-296-1980 is the number, fam. You know what it is. Let me get one more call about y'all before I close this up for the day. By the way, again, before we end the broadcast, I want to shout out my two latest members, Black Magic and Rhonda Brown. Thank you so much for your support. I definitely appreciate you. I also want to shout out Darnell for the love. Shout out Sister August Dreams House from the last broadcast, but I want to shout her out anyway because she's loyal and she always shows the love. Everybody, yeah, Gregory said everyone turned their backs on us, but now they need us. I say fuck them. I'm on my Thanos shit. I'm on my Darth Vader shit, fam. Real talk. You have failed me for the last time. I'm force choking these fools. 425-296-1980, fam, is the number. If you have something to say. Sisters, I want to hear from one of the sisters. How y'all feel about the fact that after neglecting us, after ignoring us, after acting like we don't exist, right? After all of that, now all of a sudden they trying to make their little outreach to us. How do you feel about the fact that on the low, like on the down low, like a chick that you want to date, but you don't want nobody to know you fucking? How do you feel about the fact they treating your brothers like that? 425-296-1980. Get at me, please. Yeah, man, that shit with Adele, I was like, I came on social media and I looked at it, I was like, are you shitting me? Like, this is the hill y'all choose to die on, is defending the Bantu knots and the Jamaicanization of Adele? Like, really? And it wasn't just Jamaicans. Like, I guess I could understand it if maybe the Jamaicans felt some kind of way and was like, getting at us about it, right? I could be like, okay, I'm gonna let the Jamaicans have that. That's their business. But you had people, from all over motherfucking continent, all over the diaspora, going ham on black people. All of a sudden, we were the most shittiest folk on the planet Earth for Adele. And I agree with you, Queen Jet Black. It was a distraction and an unnecessary one. Because, to be quite honest, I didn't even engage him. I don't expect people other than my tribe to give a shit about anything that my tribe cares about. I just don't. I don't look to them for allyship or support. Hell, my esteemed ancestor and elder brothers, warrior, scholar, teacher, John Henry Clark told me straight up, we ain't got no friends. We don't have no permanent friends, no permanent alliances, only permanent interests. And the sooner we understand that, fam, the less we'll get caught up in these various little traps, right? The less we'll get caught up in these various little distractions. I literally couldn't care less what Adele wear. Like, I put a post up on Twitter I said, look, Adele can grow her hair out in the dreads, start talking patois, and name herself Ratty Dread. I don't care. Don't bother me in the least. If that's who they want, who am I to keep you away from your Mother Africa Snow White Queen? That's y'all business. Me and my people got fighting to do. We ain't got time for your bullshit. We ain't got time for that. Fam, I'm going to go ahead and get ready to wrap it up. I want to thank my caller. Brother was powerful, said a lot. I'm glad to see Brother Barrington. Brother Barrington, you know I follow you on Twitter, fam, and I'm glad you showed up for a broadcast. I hope now you see what I'm about and you continue to show up. I want to thank everybody for showing up today. I appreciate y'all. I love my angry black sheep. Y'all the reason why I do what I do, right? Shout out to my esteemed brother Tazabah. Shalom to you, fam. I know, and I'm wrapping it up. Damn. But yeah, fam, I just want y'all to understand. Brothers, don't fall for the okie doke. Please don't. The Dems didn't give a fuck about you before now. They don't give a fuck about you now, and they won't give a fuck about you after you put them in power. The time to hold these bitches' feet to the fire isn't after you've cast the ballot for them and gave them the guns and the butter. The time to hold their feet to the fire is now. Is today. You don't have to fall back just because he's the nominee. You don't have to fall back just because Kamala's the nominee. No, this is when you need to go at their neck. This is when you need to let them have it. Period. And the same with Trump too. He's accountable to us too. These black Trumpites trying to tell us what Trump will do for us. Talking about what do we got to lose after 3.5 years, or actually 3.75 years. We know now what we got to lose with Trump. So we ain't got to be fooled by that black conservative bootlick bullshit either. A pox on both of their houses. You don't understand the reference, fam? Look it up. Damn both of them. We have our own political capital, and I'll be damned if I see us wasted on yet another useless do-nothing Democrat who, once they get power, will act like they don't even know we here. We are not they mules. We are not they hoes. Sister Vita, I'm sorry too, but you got to check it on the re-up, sis. Glad to have you. Welcome to the broadcast. A happy hump day to you. So, fam, with all of that said, again, extra special shout out to the 2 new members, Black Magic and Rhonda Brown. Since it's only 2, I can shout them out before the broadcast is over. If you haven't done so, fam, click that join button down underneath the video and consider becoming a supporting member of the channel, right? Again, I understand if you can't call it. There's no shame. I'm not going to browbeat you or anything like that, right? You're still going to get the same great content, but there's some other stuff that you're going to get too. Check out what's available for you, and if it sounds good, I'd love to have your support. And fam, with that said, as always, until I see you again, until I broadcast you again, I wish you all love, peace, prosperity, and power. Real power to our people.
You know, people complain about young black male unemployment, so then that leads people in to incarcerate them. You end up with black men being warehoused because black people